Love, also known as the First Lady Coach, and I equip seasoned pastors' wives to have an authentic and harmonious life so that they can have the clarity, the courage, and the confidence to stand on their own platform. Hello, hello, hello. It is Sunday, Sunday. Time for another First Lady Coach moment. How's everybody doing? Hopefully, you had a good day. We had a fabulous, fabulous day at church today. Hopefully, you had a good day. Hopefully, you're having good weather and you are just blessed all the way around on this first Sunday in June. Can you believe it? I mean, this year is going by so fast. By now, kids are getting out of school. I know there's some who are still in school, but kids are getting out of school, and this year is just going right along with or without us, right? All right. Well, anyway, again, hopefully, if you are not live, definitely feel free to leave things in the chat box. I'm trying to manage a couple of things here, are what I'm doing, but feel free to leave comments in the chat box and let me know that you are there. If you watch the replay, please let me know that you watch the replay. I always like to know that at least somebody has watched the replay. Again, if you don't know anything about me, I am Dr. Janice R. Love, also known as the First Lady Coach, and I equip seasoned pastors' wives and pastors' wives to have that and harmonious life by having the confidence and the courage to stand on their own platform. Hello, 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 Miss Proverbs 31. So good to see you. So good to see all of you who are out there. Again, thanks for joining me on tonight. So I am here tonight again to talk about 5 actions that wives take to keep from being a distraction to the ministry. Now, this is all about a wardrobe malfunction that I had on last Sunday. Now my husband and I can sit back and laugh about it, but I'm telling y'all, this was one of those moments where everything was just going to blow up, right? And then it was going to be all my fault. But let me tell you about the story. Anyway, again, thanks to those of you who watched the Pearl Power series. If you didn't get a chance to watch that, go back and watch the Pearl Power series and leave some messages, leave some comments. I am going to be offering a question and answer session this week. I'll put more information out about that so that I can answer any burning questions you have about what I am doing, who I serve, how I serve you, and if I would be able to help you. All right, so again, 5 actions that wives take to keep from being a distraction to the ministry. So here we were in Sunday morning service, and I had a wardrobe malfunction. I was sitting there listening to my husband preach, and it was getting good. Right, it was getting right to the end to get good. He was getting ready to really drive it home, right? And I am sitting there, and a pearl falls in my lap. So I'm going, wow, Lord, you sent me a pearl, right? But I was like, okay, so maybe my earring came out or my earring broke. So I take off both earrings, inconspicuously, right? Because in my mind, everybody can see everything I do, right? Here we are on the on television, on YouTube, right? And again, I'm assuming that everybody can see what's going on. So I inconspicuously take off my earring. Earrings are intact. Okay, that's fine. So then I check my bracelets. I always wear bracelets, right? So I was like, okay, one of my bracelets, it could have broke or something. So let me check that out. Wasn't my bracelet. And before another pearl drops in my lap. So I'm going, okay, this is going to be interesting. I'm like, oh my God, my pearl necklace is broke. Now, this is one of my favorite pearl necklaces. It's 3 layered. There, let me show it to you. What's left of it, right? One that my dear friend custom made by Valerie Brown. I've had it for a while, and so it's no reason it's no wonder that it broke. Well, anyway, so I realized that a strand of over probably about 40 pearls, and they're heavy, you all. I realized that this thing is breaking as we sit there, right? And again, hubby's getting to the end of the message. I'm already multitasking because I am working the chat box. And I know again that if these pearls come out, they're going to roll all over the church, and everybody's going to turn around and look at me. And my husband's going to be like, Janice, I'm trying to preach. What on earth is going on out there? So, y'all, I was scared. I was scared because I was like, I am about to truly become a distraction to my husband trying to preach a sermon. And I could tell that he could see something was wrong with me. But anyway, y'all, so I have to come up with a strategy. So I'm sitting there weighing my options again, scared that if I do again, that these things are just going to spill all over the place, and they were going to go, and things were going to get real bad real soon, right? Because all I can imagine in my mind, you all, is that they go all over the place. Somebody trips over them, somebody slips and falls, and we just got a hot mess on our hands. So anyway, I freeze. I literally freeze. I don't know what to do. I don't want to move because again, if I move, they're over the place. I don't want to just draw any attention to myself, but I got to figure out what to do. So I decide that I am going to simply I'm going to figure out how to get this necklace off, and then I am going to pull all the remaining pearls off and put them away, and then everything will be fine, right? But guess what? I can't get the thing off. So I sit still, and I realized that by messing with it, that now some more are loose. But guess what? They're inside my dress. They're in the front of my dress, and they are in the back of my dress. So I know for sure that if I don't sit still, that they're going. And again, it's the time of the sermon where it's really getting good, and I usually stand up and cheer my husband on. But I knew again that I had to sit down, I had to sit still, I had to sit down, because if not, I was going to become a huge distraction to what was going on. You ever been in that position where something has gone wrong and you're just not in the place where you can deal with it? Because if you deal with it, it's going to become a problem for somebody else, especially your husband. Anybody ever been there? Or is it just me that these strange things happen to? Let me know, because again, maybe it's me that these strange things happen to. Anyway, all right, so anyway, let me tell you what I did. I figured out how to wiggle my way around until I slid those beads, and I caught them before they hit the floor. And thank God that I managed to keep from making a big scene because. But anyway, the more I thought about this, again, we laughed about it. I couldn't wait to tell my husband about it. In fact, somebody had already told him about it because he found the pearl sitting right in front of the pulpit when he was getting ready to leave the church. So anyway, somebody had already told my story because I shared it with a couple of ladies. But I was laughing then, but when I really sat down to think about how scared I was of becoming a distraction at that point, I had to really sit and think about that. And God revealed some things to me that I thought about, but I really hadn't realized the things that I did deliberately in order to keep from being a distraction to my husband's ministry. Now, when we said our vows, he was already pastoring. I even had some special vows in my marital vow that talked about how I knew he had a special calling on his life, and that I was going to support him in that call, and I was going to do what I needed to do in order to support him. In other words, to keep from being a distraction to his ministry. So as I started to think about, some of the things that in the course of my life that I have done deliberately, unconscious, right, to keep from being a distraction from the ministry. So I want to talk to you about these 5 things, and let me know if you've done any of these things, because again, we make the vow, right, that who wants to be called a distraction to the ministry? If anybody's been watching the First Lady show, it's really a good show, because I really love how woman's side of the story and how people might turn things around and try to create problems for the husband based on what the wife has done, said, or whatever. So let's talk about these 5 ways or 5 actions that we do in order to keep from being a distraction to our husband's ministry. So the first thing we often do is we often change or alter our, think about how you thought you were supposed to dress when you became a pastor's wife or once you married ministry. People oftentimes won't let us be us. I like to wear the things that look good on me, right? I don't want to have to wear something that is making me a bad carbon copy of somebody else. And in the churches, and another first lady and I were talking about this the other day. You know how we felt like we had to wear the big hats, we always had to be in a suit, we always had to be dressed to the T because we did not want to be a distraction. And this happens so often that people will judge us based on what we wear. So we may have found ourselves changing or altering our wardrobe, maybe lowering the hem, or throwing away the stuff that even looked like somebody could accuse us of saying it's too tight. There are things that we might have done, again, to keep from being a distraction. Because the last thing you want to hear coming back is, did you see what sister so and so had on this morning? Y'all know I'm right. Y'all know how, if you're not a pastor's wife, you know how you talked about her before about what she had on, right? So yeah, so sometimes we might alter or change our wardrobe, again, to keep from being a distraction. I have a story that I tell about when I was at a pastor's wife meeting, and another approached me to tell wife that she needs to watch what she wears. No, I'm not doing that. So don't ask me to do it. All right. Okay. Anyway, I'm digressing. Okay, the second thing that we often find ourselves doing to keep from being a distraction is that we sit still. We sit still. When I was going through this pearl issue, right, I had to sit still. And oftentimes we find ourselves afraid to make a move because we are afraid of being judged or criticized for doing the very things that we already know how to do, or things that God has blessed us to do. We just find ourselves sitting still, afraid to make a move because somebody is going to say something, somebody is going to take it the wrong way, or again, someone just may decide they want to talk about us that day. And so, the last thing we want to be is that distraction. So sometimes we find ourselves, again, just sitting still. Again, I had to sit still. When I was afraid that everything was going to blow, I had to sit still because, again, I was not going to cause a riot in church that morning with my beads flying everywhere. All right, so that was number 2. The third thing that we may find ourselves doing is that we may watch what we say. Now, when I realized that this broken in my head, I said some words that I probably couldn't say out in public. And Lord forgive me, but I was scared and shocked. Okay. All right. So again, I was there, and so many times we watch what we say because people will take it the wrong way. Again, there are numerous examples you probably have in your own life about where you have said something, somebody has turned it around and created a whole different mess about it. Remember when Michelle Obama said, I've never been prouder of my country, and they took it and made it sound like she's never been proud of her country? They same thing to us. So oftentimes we will sit quiet, not saying because we're afraid of how somebody is going to take it the wrong way and bring it all the way back around and say that our husbands, we distracting, right? Problem, and then the husband has to fix it and all that stuff. So again, that's something that we do, that we end up watching what we say. And then number 4 is that we wiggle our way out of things because we don't know how to say no. So many times we are asked to do things. People will pile things on us. They will ask us to do this. They will ask us to participate in this. They will ask us all to do all kinds of things. And it's not like we don't already have enough to do, right? We're working in the church. We're taking care of our husbands. We're taking care of our children. We're doing all these things, and people want us to do things. We're usually gifted, right? But oftentimes we don't know how to say no, and we end up having to wiggle our way out of stuff by saying how busy we are, how we have this to do, how we have that to do, when we just need to learn how to say no. If you don't want to do it, or if you can't do it, just say no. There's a way to say it, right? But again, oftentimes we find ourselves wiggling our way out of things. Like I had to wiggle those pearls out of my dress, wiggle them out, so that again, that would not create a problem for my husband. And then finally, the last thing that we often do is that we sit down on our gifts. We sit down on our gifts. Now, that pearl necklace was a gift to me, right? From my dear friend Valerie. And I had to sit down on keep them from going all over the place. So many times we find ourselves sitting down on our gifts, not standing on our own platform, not doing the things that God has called us to do, not doing the things that God created us to do, because again, we're concerned, we're afraid that we are going to become a distraction, whether that's others might feel we're competing, maybe we're afraid because of everybody else is watching, or we don't feel like we're good enough. So we will find ourselves sitting down on our gifts. Now y'all are probably saying to yourself, now how did she get all of this right out of some her pearls breaking in church? But I tell you, the Lord works in mysterious ways. And again, be careful that you don't again plant these seeds in your own mind, thinking that you whatever you have been called to do, or whatever the Lord asks you to do, that is going to become a distraction for your husband. God, if he gave it to you, he's going to work it out. Now I'd have to leave y'all with 2 Timothy 1:7, because again, we so often out of fear do not do what we have been called to do, or created to do, or gifted to do, again because we as wives, especially of us who are married to ministry, we often again want to do everything we can possibly do not to become a distraction. But again, don't be in fear that you're going to be a distraction, because whatever God has created you to do, he will bring you to it, and he will give you the confidence to do that. So I got to leave you with 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, a sound mind. So don't stress yourself out. The Lord will work out the details, just like I didn't embarrass myself with these pearls everywhere. The Lord worked out the details and gave me a lesson out of it. How you like that? Anyway, I am Dr. Janice R. Love, also known as the First Lady Coach, and I equip seasoned pastors' wives to have a harmonious and authentic life by having that clarity, the confidence, and the courage to stand on their own platform. You don't know anything about me, please visit my website at janicrlove.com. Also, learn about some of the things that I am doing that could be a blessing to you at this stage in your life. Again, so thank you to everybody who came out. Hey, Vanita. Hey, Brittany. So good to see you. Yes, Brittany, you've been there. You've been through all of that. Yes. Thank you all for coming out to see me. I come out every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Time for another First Lady Coach moment. So join me next Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time for another moment. Again, thanks for joining me on this evening. I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, be blessed. Bye-bye.